So when I opened it, it was just like, I just want to make cakes and make a living. Like 11 p.m. one day, staring at my bed and just started crying because I was so tired. I just wanted to go to bed, but I couldn't. And then so I had to like, okay, I can either just stop or I can actually like take this to the next level. And there was no question, so that's what I did. We worked very hard to get where we are. We needed 80K, to get the space up and running.
Going from, hey, I like making cakes, this is what I want to do, to like, okay, now I need 80 grand.
Big jump.
That's a big jump.
It was a grind. Like the first couple years, we were just baking non-stop as non-bakers. No idea what we were doing. Felt like we were drowning every day. I've never truly felt like giving up, but sometimes it's like, this is a lot harder in the low points than people realize. The cost of ingredients has skyrocketed, and the cost of rents has gone up, and the cost of packaging has skyrocketed too. And people's spending power has gone down, and there's only so much you can charge for a cookie.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tool for Rise podcast, aka the #1 podcast in Winnipeg, where we document the rise and stardom of Winnipeg's talent and personalities. Today we're joined by Jenna and Ashley, the faces of Jenna Rae Cakes. Jenna and Ashley both never thought that the empire they have built today was ever possible. Ashley was on a path of graphic design, and Jenna was in the world of dentistry, and somehow they both joined forces to create what is now Jenna Rae Cakes. We talk about the early days, how they were sharing an apartment and working to build what is now the sweetest empire of them all. We talk about dealing with competitors, how they got started, putting up $80,000 for a lease and not having the money for it, and so many more stories. Truly an amazing episode if you're looking to build a business or you're looking to get some inspiration. Like always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Turns out 83.4% are not subscribed. Keep doing what we're doing, put it on for the city, and I will see you next week. I want to put something in perspective for you girls. It's 2024, and you girls started this at 2014.
I know.
Yeah.
Can you reflect on those 10 years that have been in this world of Jenna Rae Cakes?
Yeah, well, actually, I started Jenna Rae Cakes 2010.
Oh, okay.
And was just working kind of behind the scenes and getting things up and off the ground eventually. So it's been actually like 14 years, almost 15. So it's been a long time.
I know, I say, I can't believe it's been 10 years since we opened because we're only 24, so how is that possible?
Yeah, it's wild.
I agree.
The math just doesn't add up.
I know, because through that time we both were with our partners, but then we got married and we had kids, we bought houses, like it's all kind of part of us growing up. So for me, the way I remember it is I remember the first 2 years and then everything else kind of blends together into one.
Yeah, that's very true.
How does it feel?
I feel very proud of what we've done and accomplished and kind of in awe of it all. Like if you would have told me when I was working at Moxie's back in the day, like making cakes at night and bringing in the cake scraps for everyone the next day, that I would be teaching in Australia and we're going to London in the fall. Like it's crazy. And to have almost 4 locations now is, I wouldn't believe you.
Ashley, what about you?
Yeah, it's totally a different trajectory than we thought our lives were going to go. We never thought that we were going to open a bakery or even start a business together. Like, I don't think that was really, at least for me, I came from graphic design. So I was like, I'm going to work for cool people. I'm going to work for a cool company. I really want to design a book one day, but in my mind, it was going to be, I'll find a cool author and like do the layout of the book. And now we have 2 cookbooks and I shot, designed, styled, put them to like,
let's go.
There are books. So it's been a really cool kind of journey and process. One we never thought coming. And we don't really like sit back and, I don't know, reflect like we were saying earlier until we do a podcast and we kind
100%.
of look back on it. Because we're always just looking forward, and it is easy when you're in the day-to-day of it and you kind of lose perspective on what you've built. It can feel like a bit, I don't know, like you can feel like let down, like, oh, I should be doing this and I should be better at this by now. It's been 10 years and I should be pushing it this way. And like, how's this coming to use 5 years is so much farther ahead. Like you still get weighed down by all of those what ifs. But at the end of the day, we've built it at a comfortable pace, something that we feel proud of. And I mean, I'm sure there's probably more efficient and financially beneficial ways to run things. Probably. That's not the way we do it.
That's fair. That's fair. Because you're learning along the way, right? That 14-year journey. Now, when you look back at it, for you guys, it's probably eternity. But people look at it and they're like, "Wow, they just blew up right now." Right? Can you attest to that?
Like,
Oh yeah. People like to think that oh, it's so easy and it just happened. And it's like, no, it definitely did not just happen.
Mhm.
Of course, we didn't like plan that we would be here or plan for it to go the way that it did, but we worked very hard to get where we are and still are. So
Yeah, I don't think there's any shortcut to building a business. I think you have to be in it fully committed, grinding away, especially those first 3 to 5 formative years. Like there's no break, there's no taking
No.
vacation. It's like you get 3 hours of sleep one night just because you have to get into work for that time the next day.
Yeah.
And it's a grind. And now we're much better situated.
yes.
As we're older and we've been through it more, we can hire amazing staff to help us out. But it's definitely a grind in the early days for sure. And people did try and write us off saying like, oh, you must have had financial help or a man must have helped somewhere. It's like, no, it's just us.
Thank you very much.
Of course. You know, you show them. You're like, look, my name's on the building. This is what we've done. This is what we've done. Of course not. Can we talk about the grind? The aspirations 10 years ago, Jen, what were they versus what they
Oh my gosh.
became?
Well, when I first started making cakes, it's just because I had a passion for it. Like I made one day and was just immediately hooked and couldn't stop. It was like an addiction kind of.
Yeah.
So I never thought like, oh, I'm going to open a bakery and I'm going to do this and that and whatever. I was in school. I wanted to be a dentist, which is hilarious. I'm really glad I'm not.
Now you give them business.
Yeah, quite opposite. But I remember I was like sitting in my chemistry lecture or something, and I was like just sketching out cake designs and stuff, not listening to a word they were saying. And I was just like, okay, I think I'm onto something here. Like I really am into this. I'm really passionate about it. But yeah, I think like even the first 4 years, I didn't really think about opening a bakery. Like I just didn't. I was like, I'll just make them on the side for fun, and then it kind of took over my whole life, where to the point where I had to like, yeah. So I was making them illegally out of our apartment at first. I didn't know it was illegal at the time.
So both of you were living together at the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And our husband. Then
Our
boyfriend.
husband.
She's like, our husband. Fine, I said our husband. He's my work husband. Our work husband. Yeah. So they put up a lot. Trev did a lot of dishes for me. That was nice. And then I found out pretty quickly that was illegal. I had a competitor tell me to the city. So I got a phone call and then I had to legalize everything, rent a kitchen overnight. And so it forced me to legitimize everything, which was in turn like a good thing.
Yeah, because before it was more of a hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so I had to like, okay, I can either just stop or I can actually like take this to the next level. And there was no question. So that's what I did. And so thank you very much to that competitor for that.
Can we talk about that story?
We can touch on that. Yeah.
What was the whole, how did they reach out? What was the process?
She was, I think I was very trusting in the beginning and I looked up to her. She's a great cake artist in the city and she doesn't work anymore, but she kind of like, not befriended me, but was trying to be nice to me and then called me one day and was like, oh, I saw you did a football cake. Like, how did you get the texture on that football? And I was like, oh, well, I just used an impression mat. Like, the simplest question for a cake artist, like she obviously knows.
Yeah.
And then she just started talking. She's like, oh, so where are you working out of and whatever. And I told her, oh, just my apartment for now. It's just for fun. Like, I'm not even charging anything. Like, it's just whatever. And the next day I get a call from the city saying that there was a report that I was working illegally from my house. And I think I had to pay like $800 to get licensed and then had to find a kitchen that would let me rent from them.
Did you immediately know it was her?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's always been out to get me for like years.
Oh, no.
She was,
that means you're doing something right, though.
Yeah, like it was almost kind of like, I was definitely insulted and like kind of scared of her, but it was kind of nice that she was kind of intimidated by what I was doing. So that was kind of like, it's like, okay, I must be doing something right if she's even taking the time out of her day to like intimidate me. So.
Do you remember when she like brought it out like in the apartment?
Yes.
What was that like?
Well, I think I was just like, well, I mean, if these are the rules, then like follow the rules. You don't want to get in trouble from the government.
No.
And she would kind of, I think you were at the point of like, I think I want to do this more seriously.
Yeah.
So it was just a good next step. The biggest hurdle was $800 because when you're 20, 1
In chemistry.
and struggling to pay
student.
rent
Yep.
for a broke student.
Yeah.
That is a big chunk of
is.
money, and to pay it within, I think it was 3 or 5 days or something.
Yeah, it was very quick.
I think mom and dad had to help.
Mom
out.
and dad helped. Yeah.
Yeah.
They did. Thank you, mom and dad. Yeah.
So that was like the financial part was most stressful. Everything
Yeah.
else, like paperwork and figuring that out, that's
Sure.
fine. But
Yeah.
Yeah, the financials.
finding a kitchen. But
Finding a kitchen was rough, but I know you had Stephen Hua on the podcast.
Yeah.
He let me use like Republic's, his old
Oh,
club's like nightclub kitchen.
he's great.
Yeah, awesome. So it was so nice of him to do that. And like I used the Moxie's kitchen like once or twice, and then just found other catering kitchens around the city. So I'd go in, I'd lug in my stuff at like 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Bake everything I need to decorate, whatever, and then lug it all out by like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And then I'd go to school and then work at Moxie's typically, and then maybe I'd go out in between.
When he gets out. Yeah.
It was I've never needed much sleep, so that was good for me, but
Ashley, what
Yeah.
was your grind like during that time?
my grind, I was working while I was going to school for graphic design, and then I worked at an ad agency for a year after school, and then I got a job as the creative director of a local wedding magazine.
Okay.
They're not around anymore, but that was a great, I think I was there for 3 years. And
Yeah.
it was a great, like, learning experience because I learned so much in that short amount of time because we did so much work. I think I accumulated like
oh yeah, you're over
hundreds and hundreds of hours of unpaid overtime. Yeah,
Insane.
it was wild.
Wow.
But I learned so much. I learned how to like plan a photo shoot and be on set and like get the shots that I needed to go in the magazine and photo styling and a little bit of photography. So it kind of set me up really well for our business.
Yeah,
And
it was
booking,
good.
yeah.
Good training in hindsight.
It was a great training.
yeah.
And you also learn working for Jenna never really worked for other people.
No.
I have worked for a few different people, and some are amazing and some are not so great. So you learn kind of leadership styles, what you like, what you respond to,
course.
what you want to emulate. So that was super beneficial too. So the grind for me was doing graphic design during the day, and I did a ton of freelance too because graphic design doesn't pay very well. So I did a lot of freelance too at the time. So when Jenna had first asked me to come and help at the shop in a more full-time capacity, I was like, I guess I can, but I'll just bring my computer and I'll work in between customers.
Yeah.
And I just never got to work.
Well, yeah, the timing of it worked out really well because your magazine folded, right, or something, like right at the time I was opening the bakery.
I had quit, yeah.
Oh, you had quit. Sorry. So yeah, it like kind of just serendipitously worked out.
That was good timing.
Yeah, it was very good timing, and I thought because I opened it with with just myself.
Yeah.
So I was making everything that would go out the doors. And when I started the bakery, it was more of a custom cake shop. And I just like kind of on a whim, I was like, well, I'll have a cooler full of goodies in case people want to like take stuff with them when they come in for their tastings and whatever. And that part like really blew up. So I was working like, I call the first 6 weeks like my blackout zone. Like I don't remember a thing.
Nothing?
I don't remember a thing.
Oh no.
So I was like, Ash, I need your help. So she stepped up. She was in the kitchen. Like my recipe book is hilarious, and I had no order for anything. No order notes. No, like I had a notebook that I'd write orders in, and like not even organized. I just flipped through them. Like, hey, I have this week, and it's stressed out. So she legitimized everything and made everything legible, and so she came in and whipped us into shape really quick. Thank God. But yeah, it was a blur.
Can we talk about before opening the bakery and while you're in school? What was your first cake, and like what was the journey of getting progressively better and better at this, or were you just good at the start?
I think my aesthetic was good at the start, not so much my technical skills, but it wasn't bad.
Okay.
I still look at some of my older cakes like that's cute. Like I would do different now. Yeah.
Good work,
I was
pal.
trying to go.
Good job.
My first cake, so I'd watched Cake Boss, and I was like, that looks like so much fun. I can do that. I went out and bought everything I needed.
Yeah.
And then I had my cousins for Tara and David. Was it their anniversary or engagement cake or some kind of event was happening?
Okay.
So I made a cake for that, and it was like a 2-tier teal cake with like white piping on it and like red. Right. I think I got you to do the piping on top because your writing's nicer.
Oh, maybe.
Something like that, and I just like immediately was hooked. Like, and it wasn't great, and I didn't know what I was doing. I was using like these random tools. The cake itself probably was not good yet, But
Like
it was just
taste-wise?
like,
Did you
yeah,
use boxed cake back then
I might
for the
have.
first couple?
Oh, I probably did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I probably used box cake.
Could you explain what a box cake is for
Oh, just like the
myself?
cake you buy in a box.
Oh,
and you
okay,
have the
okay.
eggs and the
Okay.
oil.
Oh, like
Yeah.
cake mix.
Yeah, like
Okay, I
Betty
got you.
Crocker or
Got
whatever.
you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I can do.
Yes. Most people can.
Yes.
If you can't do that,
No,
there's no
no.
help.
That I can do.
Yeah, so I was just, so for me, it wasn't so much the baking, it was the decorating that I love.
Got you.
Still to this day. So it's like a means to an end. Like I had to bake the stuff to decorate. So yeah, I was just immediately hooked. Like I used to play hockey at U of M, and I quit about a year before I started cakes. And I like had, my passion was hockey. Like that was my identity. It was everything. So when I lost that, I was like, there was nothing really that I loved in the world. I mean, besides people that I love, but just like passion.
Your purpose.
Yeah, purpose.
Yeah.
So, and like school was fine, but I didn't love it. And so when I stumbled onto cake decorating, it was like, it immediately filled that hole and even more. So I just like couldn't let it go no matter what.
And
so when I opened it, I was just like, I just want to make cakes and make a living. And this is what I need to do. So.
And for Ashley, that was your passion was art, right?
Design.
Creating,
Yeah.
design.
Creating. Yeah. So, I mean, it's worked out really well because I get to do that every day now.
Yeah.
So, and for myself, because as a designer, you're working for clients. So it's a lot of client work. So it's like, make this bigger, make this orange. I don't like to start over. So like, it's a lot of that. So you lose your ego really quickly in terms of, in like the graphic design world.
Yeah.
But with Jenna Rae Cakes, it's been super fun because it's been a 10, 14 year branding exercise, basically.
Yeah.
Where we
Resume's
kind of
very
got to
good.
grow it, and I do all of the packaging and all of the books and the photography and social media. So it's been a really fun creative process, and that's kind of what's helped us, I think, gain a lot of exposure at the very beginning because Instagram was just becoming popular at the time, and my skill set was really geared towards that, and Jenna's craft was really photogenic, so it was kind of like a really good mesh of everything going on at the moment.
Do you guys have a moment from the time when you guys were in the apartment together that like stands out of like, maybe not stands out, but a moment that you recall of maybe, you know, you have a midterm next tomorrow and you're working on design and trying to figure it out, and you're both trying to build separate avenues in at that case, but you guys are living together in this world. Do you have a moment that stands out?
Well, I just always remember being my big desktop computer, and then Jenna's table where she worked on was behind me.
Yeah.
But I remember carrying that huge, heavy wedding cake down the stairs. That was so stressful.
Oh gosh, yeah, that was
so
someone
big.
like
In our hot
for some
apartment.
reason trusted me to do the 4th-year wedding.
Okay.
No clue what I was
Let's talk
doing.
about it. Let's talk about it. What happened?
Oh my gosh, I don't even remember how they found me or whatever.
Yeah, because this was before the kitchen.
We were still thinking of my apartment
Yeah.
then, so like it wasn't even wasn't legal. But yeah, so I was like, oh, I can do that, sure, why not? And I did it. It was cute.
Yeah, it was cute.
Like, yeah, it was
Okay.
nice. I think it was like black and white
and
and like
anemones.
anemones.
That's right.
Anemones. Yeah. Yeah, like I had no idea. I literally to this day don't know how I didn't have a wedding cake like fall over on me because I didn't know.
Wow.
I'd done research and watched a couple of YouTube videos and stuff, but like there isn't the amount of info on the internet as there is now. Like now you can Google anything and find out how to do anything. Back then there really wasn't. You had to like scour, and I would watch certain videos, and I watched a lot of Cake Boss and like try to pick up like little tips and tricks that way.
Yeah.
But there were some things that I would do that would just like take me so long, and there was a way to do it like instantaneously, and I was like, oh, I just wasted 10 hours on that.
What's an example? What's an example?
Like I used to do little 2D figures. I remember that like Buzz Lightyear cake or that Toy Story cake I made way back in the day, and like so I would print out the image, just like right there. I cut it with the X-Acto knife, and then I'd make font in each of the colors, and then cut out those little pieces and like piece them together, and then outline it in like black icing. And it took so long, but they were cute. And then I graduated into like hand painting. So I just cut out the shape, and then I just hand paint it. And like now we just like do edible printing for stuff like that to make it affordable, and like we can mass produce it that way.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, it used to take me forever. But I love doing like, I just get in the zone, and it's just like my therapy. So I didn't mind spending that much time on things. But It's useful to
Financially.
know. Yes, financially.
No, cost per hour.
$0 until we opened the bakery. Yeah, it was like
Minus.
Yeah, I didn't make a penny, but.
So you were spending all the money on ingredients then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would get money and then
I feel like we're still spending all the money on ingredients.
100%. Yeah, it's so expensive. Yeah, I'd get the money. I'd get the money for the cakes I did that weekend. I'd go shop for the next week and then it'll be gone.
Oh no.
Yeah. So it was hard, and it's hard valuing your time and your skill, especially when you're starting out, because you don't feel like you can charge that much. Yet even to this day, I don't feel like I can charge what it's worth for some of my custom cakes, but I just want to do it, so I'll take a hit. But
And you were doing them for free?
yeah, essentially, especially at the beginning, I was like, "You want a cake? You want a cake? You want a cake?" So yeah.
And was that just because you enjoyed it, or were you?
And I wanted to kind of build my portfolio
okay.
too, like. I think it's still on there. Like all my early cakes are still on Facebook, I think.
On Facebook, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I would just post them on there, and then I start getting orders from friends and friends of friends, and then people I didn't know. So that's when I kind of was like, okay, I think I'm onto something here. People like what I'm doing, and of course, like there was at times I'd charge even like $60 for a cake that now I would charge $500 for.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that's too much. I'll just make it myself. I'm like, okay, fine. It's 40.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was definitely, but I loved it. And you have to build a portfolio. You can't expect to just charge like crazy right out of the gate when you have no training behind you. So
Yeah, especially if when you're not going to school, that is your school.
yeah.
So
Yeah, like Ash worked all those unpaid overtime hours. I
Yeah.
made all these cakes for free, and then it all worked out.
Ashley, what did you think when she was just grinding away at building cakes in your living room, in your kitchen? Like, what was going through your mind? Like, I have my design work. I'm going this way.
yeah.
Like, you're going to dentistry. Why are you building cakes? Like,
No, I was always really excited because
Yeah.
I was in the wedding world with the magazine. So I
yes.
knew the vendors on the scene and I knew what was kind of in that world. So I was really excited that Jenna was a bit more trend focused and kind of ahead of the times and could really execute. I did pull together a lot of photo shoots using vendors from the magazine. So I knew if I needed her to make a cake, I knew it was going to come the way that I had envisioned it to
For
be.
sure.
So I was just
Yeah.
really excited. I'm like, you also have to make macarons because no one in the city makes them and they're so pretty and I love them. So
Yeah.
I was excited. I was always cheering you on because I knew that
Yeah.
she was always creative, but she never really had a chance to express that because she would go to like advertising art in our high school and then the teachers would be impressed with her, and then I was in the second term.
I'm like,
she's
just wait till you see my sister. She's much better than I am.
Aw.
And I can't be second best, so I just
Yeah.
stopped pursuing that.
Fair. Fair.
So she found her creative.
I found my
avenue with
medium.
cakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of setting the macarons that you were talking about,
Yes.
you guys started a trend almost like one in Winnipeg, but almost like worldwide eventually. What was the idea behind going there?
I think for that, well, it's a funny story on how we got going with those because, like I said, I'm like, you have to put these on your menu when you open up.
Yeah.
And she tried them once and they worked out great. She's like, yeah, no problem.
I'm like,
So
these are easy. I don't know what you're talking about.
Our first menu was handwritten, so I hired a calligrapher to do it.
Yeah.
And it was all ready to go, and it was like a week or two before opening, and Jenna calls me in a panic. She's like, we have to take macarons off the menu.
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
well, we can't. The menu's done. And she had tried, and they just failed miserably like
a
time and
million
time
times.
again.
Yeah.
What happened?
They're just a very finicky recipe, and that's like you hear about them being so hard to make. So when I first made them, like, oh, these are easy. Of course, let's put them on the menu.
To be fair, you didn't use a thermometer. You didn't use a candy thermometer.
Yeah, I didn't use a candy thermometer. I was like, oh, it
Which
looks
is like a
right.
main
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, it wasn't working at all. And then I eventually figured it out like a couple days before open, and I think
yeah, and I think we started with like
to do a
lemon and
bunch of-
pistachio and salted caramel, but then we were like, let's just do fun flavors. Like, well, I can't believe no one has done like a cotton candy or
Yeah.
Lucky Charms
Yeah.
or like bubble gum. So we started doing
Yeah.
all these fun flavors, and I think that's what really put us on the map because
Mm-hmm.
no one had seen that or done that before. It was always raspberry, pistachio, vanilla, lemon, salted
basic
caramel.
ones,
Like it
the
was always
basics.
very
Yeah, yeah.
basic.
boring.
Delicious but basic and boring.
Yeah.
And we just had fun with it. We love candy, so we kind of infused that into everything we did, and we got a lot of pushback, mostly from chefs.
Yeah, from like patisserie chefs.
What did they say?
Yeah, just like that's not a macaron, like this fuzzy peach, like light without sugar on it, because we want to. Like, I don't know.
I always say too, like that because we are self-taught, and I'm a baker, but like now we hire actual trained bakers because it is such a skill and they're so good at it. But I'm happy that I never went to culinary school because then I would be infused with those like, oh, you can't, like this is what it is, preconceived notions of like what a macaron should be or what the flavors should be and what's like frowned upon and whatever. Like I wasn't shaped in that way, so we just like wanted to do what we wanted to do.
Like our menu offering when we started was cakes, macarons, cupcakes, cookie sandwiches, imperial cookies, covered Oreos, like it was just such a random assortment of things. Like now that's a lot more common, but back then we kind of just hadn't seen it done before, so we're like, let's just sell what we want to eat.
Yeah, I think people forget too, like 10 years ago when we opened, Instagram was so new. And I remember searching things when they're trying to get like inspiration or whatever, and there was like nothing. And when Ash started taking these beautiful photos and like holding up a macaron with her like pretty nails done, like that wasn't done before. And now you see it everywhere.
Aesthetic,
yeah, and it's just like she did such a good job curating that space for us, and like we really stood out in that realm because everything was so beautiful. Like I remember we'd be slaving away in the kitchen and it was about to open and Ash would be taking like 15 minutes to do photos out front in the light and stuff. And I'm like, Ash, I need your help. We're opening right away. And she's like, no, this is important. Trust me. I'm like, okay, fine. And she was right, obviously. Back then we used to post like 12 photos a day.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job in itself.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. But it's how we would get our menu out there. And
yeah.
How important
There's no
has
stories or anything.
Yeah, how important has social media been? Like, so going from design and working in a magazine, social media being so new at the time,
It was so new.
the adapting towards like Instagram and all these platforms, what was that like?
It was pretty intuitive back then. Now I find it way harder. But back then it was just post pretty photos. I'm like, okay, I can do that.
People will see them and they'll like them.
Yeah, if they follow you, they'll see your photos and
not
they'll
anymore.
come sell you out of Lucky Charms macarons. And that is not the way the world works anymore. I find recently it's just overwhelming. Like I have Aaliyah who's worked with us for almost 10 years now. She's amazing. And she does our stories and our DMs and our email marketing. And then I do the posting. Jen and I both do reels and just keeping up with that. And it is so hard. It's like someone's full-time job should be just doing Instagram, but that's not really feasible either because we don't pay for marketing. And but it's so important to build your social following, but it's so discouraging too.
Yeah.
So it's just, we used to be at a point, I would say 3-4 years ago, where we're like, we just do what we want and it's worked out and it's great and we have fun with it and we don't look at numbers and it's just great. But I feel like that shift it's changed now, at least for me. I am more focused on the numbers
100%.
and reels are just what you have to do now. And we were resistant to it for a long time.
Yeah.
And people want to see the faces behind the brands. They want to see what a day in your life is like. They want to see, those are the things that perform really well. But those are the things that also take a lot of time and are also just kind of like mentally exhausting to keep up with.
Yeah.
Especially when, I'm always so jealous when I hear of founders who aren't designers and they don't actually do all of the branding and the packaging and ordering and Instagram, because then you can focus on the business and growing it and like what's next. I feel like I get bogged down by the day-to-day in that way, just keeping up with the daily tasks. So,
Jenna, what about you day to day? What does that look like?
Day to day, it always changes. Like I still do all the custom cakes. We have a cake team now and they do an amazing job of like getting out the day to day. We do around like 50 to 70 cakes a week, I would say on average. So when I'm not doing custom cakes, I'm helping Ash with what I can, which is kind of limiting because I'm not very good at anything technical or
yeah, I'll get
paperwork.
something to you and then it eventually comes back to me.
Yeah, like I'm asking questions the whole time and it's like taking more time.
How do I post?
We definitely have very different skill sets. I wish, when I was at university, I actually started in business and I switched to sciences and I wish I would have stayed in business because I feel like that could have been helpful. But yeah, so it's just a lot of helping out with things, running the cake department, making cakes, doing a lot of reels and photo stuff. And yeah, it's hard to answer those questions because every day is just like so different for me. And then it's hard too when my husband's a hockey player, so when he's gone, I'm full-time with my kids, single momming it, so I don't have much leeway in coming early or staying late or anything like that. So my job definitely changes when he's back. It's great because I can just work and not have to plan it out too much. But My favorite thing to do is be in the cake room at like 10 p.m. and just working on a cake. Because if I'm trying to do it during the day, I get pulled in a million different directions. I can never get anything done.
Yeah.
So I just love kind of being there at night. It kind of takes me back to when I first started, when I was alone overnights in kitchens. Like that's kind of that's my space, and I love doing that.
And Jen's always been very transparent with us. She's like, I just want to make cakes. I
said that from day one.
Make cakes.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'll try and pile things on her, and then they just get handed back. So I'm like, okay.
I try. I wish I was better at that stuff, but I'm just not.
Yeah.
My brain like shuts off. Like I can't.
So what was the transition then? Okay, so you're making cakes.
Yeah.
You're in the kitchens now. But then to take this to build it into a legitimate, almost empire, what was that decision?
So, well, when we first opened our storefront, we
Like, how do you get to the storefront? To be
to the storefront. So I was renting kitchens overnight, like I said, and it got to the point where I was just so tired, like so run down, and working, going to school, making cakes. And I remember just like packing up to go to the kitchen at like 11 p.m. one day and staring at my bed and just started crying because I was so tired. I just wanted to go to bed, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I have to either take this all the way and see what happens, open up a bakery to make it my job, or just focus on school. I had one class left to graduate, organic chemistry 2.
Oh, that's a
We'll never
horrible
do it.
class.
I think my degree is probably a reset at this point. I would think. But so that night, the cakes were baking. I was like sketching out my ideas. We still have the sketchbook. It's so fun to look back on. But of like what we would sell in a day, and like what the menu would be, and how much money I would need, and all this stuff, which is like very inaccurate at the time. But I just remember sitting there dreaming it up. I'm like, okay, I have to do this now. So then we started looking at spaces.
Is this in the middle of you crying?
Yeah, well, I'd finished crying at that point. I was like, that kind of just was a switch I needed, just to be like, okay, you need to do something about this. Like, this isn't working anymore. Because I was doing that for like 4 years.
But stopping the cakes was never the idea.
No, that was just never even a possibility for me. Like I couldn't do it. So
Why do you think that?
Because it was just like I was like addicted to it. It's like my passion. Even now, if I spend like a couple of nighters working on a bunch of cakes and I'm exhausted, I take one day off and I'm like, okay, I can do it again. Like I love it. Like I just love it so much. So I'll never get sick of it. And like I would never give it up. Even if I like won the lottery, I would still be doing this. So I feel like I have won the lottery in some ways, just because we both love our jobs and very nice lives. But there was just it was never an option to give it up.
So now you commit. Now you're like, okay, I'm going all in.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
So I'm a little impulsive. So I didn't actually. My friend helped me write a business plan. He was in business school. So shout out to Mike Delbano. Thank you very much. Because I had like my little scribbles, but like nothing that a bank would take seriously. Tried to go to a bank.
Still don't take
Absolutely did not take me seriously, even though I had a good business plan.
What was the plan?
I don't remember at all. It was very like, I'll sell 24 cupcakes a day and like 12 macarons and 5 cakes a week.
Nice.
Something like that. It was very low. And like, I'll have one staff. Very low ceiling. My
sister.
Exactly. She'll work for free. But they did not give me money. So then I went to the Women's Enterprise Center to try to get money that way. It still didn't work. I'm a little foggy on the details at this point now, but they just wouldn't give me money either.
What was the reason? Do you know the reason why?
It's just, I guess, investing in restaurants or anything. I had no collateral.
Got you.
No anything.
On your personal assets.
Yeah.
Got it.
Absolutely nothing. So, it was fair, I guess, looking back.
I can see why.
I'm like, I swear this is gonna be good.
Would you invest
have to
in
trust
you?
me.
Like if someone came to you right now, both of you, if someone came to you and was like, "Hey, listen, this is what I got."
No, because I know
Would
how
you
hard it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And I think banks don't see your work ethic.
Yeah.
Like they don't know that about you. They just look at the numbers solely, and like I had nothing behind my name, so.
And I think in this day and age, you can have great work ethic, great business plan, and a great idea, and you can still not work.
Yeah,
for
like
a
we still
multitude
have
of
trouble
reasons.
getting loans sometimes from our bank, even though like, you've seen our, like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Yeah.
But it's a rough market out there, I guess. But yeah, it was a family friend that actually ended up investing and then let us buy him out right away. So we were very fortunate that way.
Wow.
He liked my business plan. He was impressed with all my answers. Like, he grilled me. It was great, honestly.
Yeah.
It tested out what I knew. So thank God to them. We owe them everything. But
Why do you think they invested?
because, well, his wife has been a family friend of ours forever, and she just like believed in us and just knew that.
Watched us grow up.
Yeah.
She knew that we.
She saw the work ethic.
Yes.
She saw the work ethic.
Yeah. So she knew that, and she knew. I think she knew that we were kind of like the last option too, or she's our last option.
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, so grateful to them.
And-
yeah, like I don't know how you get money like it was.
And you needed the money
impossible.
to lease
Yeah,
the
like
place?
I signed the lease without having any money.
Yeah, we needed
So-
$80K
Yeah.
to
God
get
damn.
the space up and running and get the equipment. And
Yeah, and luckily, our same investor told us about this bakery auction in Brandon because they had just closed down within a year of opening.
Yeah.
And all their equipment was like brand new. And so we drove out there like that day.
yeah,
I had to like cash the check. I remember it was so stressful because I had to go to the bank, cash the check, get the money, go there, and it was, and he was like in Africa or something. So I don't know what was going. It was like really stressful. We got out there and we're like bidding on all this stuff. We got stuff for like dirt cheap.
Yeah,
all of our
that's
like
amazing.
big ovens and mixers and everything. It was amazing. And then we drove home. Our dad came with us, brought like his truck and a trailer, and we like drove home through a snowstorm.
yeah,
But it was so invigorating.
it was.
fun.
It's a success.
So wait,
Yeah.
you're in your apartment
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, okay, I'm doing this, and all of a sudden you need $80K.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, how long
I
did
think
it take?
I asked for
how long-
16. He's like, you need 80. I'm like, okay.
God damn. So going from, hey, I like making cakes, this is what I want to do, to like, okay, now I need 80 grand.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a big jump.
That's a big
lot of
jump.
money.
Yeah. And then you signed the lease before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. I saw the space. Actually, I initially had bid on the space that was beside Starbucks on Academy
Mm.
and lost out on that space, luckily, because that wouldn't have been a good spot for us. And then this spot came up and it was just perfect. And a friend of mine helped me like set up the meeting and just made me seem, I think, more like legitimate than I was.
Okay.
So that was helpful. Sam.
Mm.
I've been very like fortunate to have met people throughout the journey who have like vouched for me and been there for me, to like Steven, who let me use his kitchens, and like Sam for helping me get my lease, and then our investors who believed in us. So yeah, it's all like every step. If that didn't happen, then who knows what
Mhm.
would have
Nice.
been.
And then, Ashley, what were you doing at that time? So now she's all in.
Yeah.
And you're still on your design path?
Yeah, I was still working for the magazine and helping out
Yeah.
randomly here and
Yeah,
there.
she like laid down the floors, like
Yeah. Helped design the shop.
yeah.
Yeah, just for fun. It was a grind. Like the first couple
Oh.
years, we were just baking nonstop as non-bakers. No idea what we were doing. Felt like we were drowning every day. But it was also exhilarating and
Literally,
exciting because
it
we'd have lineups and we'd sell out and people were excited. And
Yeah.
so there was definitely like highs and lows in the first
Yeah.
couple years that got us through. But now I feel in a much better spot where I'm on my computer. I think it took 5 or 6 years for me to get out of the kitchen and behind my computer, which is where I belong. So it took a while to get there, but now that I'm there, like I love my job. I love what I
Yeah.
do every day. I'm always excited to go to work. If I have a free night and my husband's out golfing or something, I like to just work in front of the TV. Like I enjoy doing
Wow.
it. That's kind of my hobby.
Nice.
I love editing photos and
Yeah.
designing packaging and all that stuff. So it's been a really fun job. I'm really glad you started making cakes.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Can we talk about the journey of, well, okay, now you've got the place, you've got the money to do it. It's like an empty room, I assume, or like
It was
an
a
empty.
sushi restaurant.
Okay, so changing
in
that up.
grease.
Greasy sushi
Very
restaurant.
covered in grease.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I know. I don't know why. What's a tempura? I don't know.
Yeah, but they didn't
Maybe.
even have like deep frying like ventilation, so they probably just had like the hand deep fryers. That
Yeah.
the health department didn't know about. Also, yeah, like we didn't know anything for like health and safety, taxes.
We've learned so much.
Yeah, like being a business owner is crazy because like you just get a crash course in absolutely everything. Like I was like, I just want to make cakes, so I'm gonna open a bakery. Meanwhile, like we did everything from like I was cleaning like the grease traps and doing all the dishes and doing the books. A terrible job of that. And we'd like go to Costco on Saturday after our shift, and it was crazy. And like to get all the ingredients we needed to start baking for the next week, and we just did
All
everything.
the applications for government stuff and meeting with clients and then handling HR and phone calls.
God.
I
and
answered all the
emails and
emails for years, and it was just like,
social media.
oh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
It was great, but email, I hated answering emails. I'm very glad that that's off my plate.
Yeah.
Has been
We're
for a long
terrible
time.
at it.
Yeah, it was bad. It's like, this is like 3 days late. I'm like, I have to make all these cakes. I have to do this, I have to do this. and
Gmail
then I
gives you a
answer emails.
reminder too. It's like you
yeah,
haven't
probably
responded
not
in a
back
couple of
then.
days, and you're like, I know, I'm
Do they
getting.
do that now? Yeah, they didn't back then. There was something like, it's been 2 weeks. I haven't answered this.
You hit them. Sorry for the delay.
Yeah, and we had no website you can order on back then too. So every order was like a custom order essentially.
Custom
So it's a
slip,
lot of
yeah.
back and forth just to get everything finalized and payment, and it was just a lot. So we streamlined the process so much so now that it's so much better. You can order custom cakes online, customizable cakes online, and everything else. So it really takes a load off. Although our CSR team works so hard and they do so much, and I'm just so glad it's not me anymore.
What was launch day like? Opening the
first day?
restaurant, names on the building,
Yeah.
line up around the corner.
No
lineups
lineups then. No.
We did sell out.
We sold out.
Okay.
I was very impressed about it, very happy.
Did you take a moment to look and be like, "We're here"?
Yeah, well, Mom and Dad were there for the opening. You were there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember I was just like baking in the back all day,
Mm-hmm.
and then coming out with like my big necklace and my dress. I remember having to go to 7-Eleven to buy peanut butter cups because we ran out of cheesecakes.
Right.
But yeah,
On opening day?
Yeah.
Oh no. Was that stressful?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. But like it was good that we sold out. Like I had no idea how much to make. I think I just made as much as I possibly could because it was just me
Yeah.
making everything. And then when I'd have custom cakes, I'd have to like do those on top of everything else. So it was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember ever sitting down and being like, okay, in 6 months we're going to be here, and then in a
Oh,
year this
no.
is like the plan. It was always just day to day.
We were
Like,
just trying to survive.
you had asked how
daily.
we'd like decided to get different kitchens and like
Yeah.
grow the business that way. There was never really like, okay, in a year we're going
No.
to have 3 locations. It was, we ran out of space in our little tiny kitchen. We were pissing off a lot of customers because we couldn't keep up and we couldn't keep the cooler
People
stock.
got so angry.
People
at
got
us. They were
so
like,
mad.
"We're trying."
So mad.
Do you
So
have a reaction that you remember? Any hate comments?
so
Gosh,
many.
there's
What's one that
so
sticks?
many.
Because as much as we say we don't read the comments, I've got a couple that they're there.
we don't read the comments anymore.
No, okay.
Because that is just
I do.
torture.
Oh, which one? Jen? Which one hurt you the most?
Well, this wasn't like really. Oh, I guess it was our first Valentine's Day, and that was the first day I ever went on. Was it Google reviews or Yelp or something?
Yeah.
And it gutted me. I was
Oh,
so
no.
depressed because I'd never read them before, and I just assumed that people liked what we did and whatever. And it was just they were bashing our products. They were bashing us as people. It was so
What'd they say?
so rude. What were some of the comments? I just remember them being so mean.
Yeah.
Was there any positive ones?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you
okay,
never
okay.
remember
No,
the
you never. Of course
positive
not.
ones,
No,
right?
no.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
think
get
people
thousands.
mostly like if you're so happy with something, you're not gonna go write about it online
Yeah,
for the most
of
part.
course.
But if you're mad about something, that's the first
Oh,
thing these
100%.
people do. And and I think it was a lot of like I think competitors too would add stuff in because some things I was like, oh, I know who you are. Should I tell a story about
Yes.
the first? Oh, no.
We can cut it out. But I just kind of
Okay.
know.
Well, it wasn't my opening day. I think it was like the
First
second
week. First or second
Yeah.
week. Yeah.
So the one who told on me to the city,
Ooh,
her husband came in, and I knew who he was. Ordered some stuff and whatever. I'm like, okay, enjoy, see ya. And the next day she comes in and she has a bag with her, and she's like, oh, I just came to congratulate you on your opening. I'm like, oh, thanks, that's nice. I thought maybe she like brought me a present or like, cause some people like brought a bottle of wine or something like really nice. I'm like, okay, maybe she's like turning a leaf. This is nice. And then she's like, yeah, I have a present for you. She's like, well, show me around. I'm like, well, this is it. Like, I'm not going to take you to my
No.
kitchen. And she's like, well, show me the kitchen. I'm like, no. And she's like, trust me, you're not going to want to do this out here. I'm like, and she walked past me into my kitchen. And then threw the bag on the counter. She's like, open it. I'm like, okay. And I opened it, and inside was our box of treats, and I opened it, and on our cheesecake there was like a hair on top. I'm like, you probably put that there.
Yeah.
But even if you didn't, like, okay. And she's like, that's disgusting. She's like, this is my present to you. You can't run a business like this. It's so inappropriate, so unprofessional. I'm like, okay,
fuck?
like, get out.
You're gonna get 20 years on us too?
Yeah, like she was so mean. Like I just opened this huge
no.
accomplishment, and she's trying to tear me down. And then she said a bunch of other things, and I was just like a deer in headlights. I'm like, can you leave, please? And one of my friends was helping me up front, and she's like, what is going on back there? And so she left, and I was like in shock. And then we ended up sending her a letter that Trev wrote, just saying that she wasn't allowed to come back. And then, of course, our health inspector calls the next day, and he's like, we got a complaint about hair in the food. And he's like, I actually know who this is, and I know she's one of your competitors. And he was the nicest health inspector. Like, he was so sweet. And he was just like, I have to call just because it's been reported, so I have to follow the steps. But just so you know, like, this probably will happen to you. Get a thick skin, and like, you're gonna do great. And I'm just so nice.
Oh my God.
He's like, I know this is like not a real accusation, but like I'll come check things out, whatever.
That's ridiculous.
But yeah, so that's like one of the many things she did to me throughout the years. But
That's fucked up.
yeah,
Yeah.
my first week, I'm like, that's so rude.
Oh no.
Yeah, she was a mean-spirited person.
Yeah,
Damn.
but
Jealousy just runs deep in Winnipeg, eh?
yeah,
Why?
I don't know.
I feel like it's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, I
sure.
would say, yes.
Yeah. It's definitely gotten a lot better.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah. Like I think when I first started, like the cattiness was like pretty high,
Mm-hmm.
but I never got into it at all. Like I've
Yeah.
always been like, I consider myself a nice person, and like would
Yeah.
never try to ruin someone.
No,
like
I think
that.
there's enough room for everybody. I don't
agree.
understand
I
the
agree.
scarcity mentality.
And
It
she
just
was
doesn't make sense.
she was such a good cake designer too.
Mhm.
But our styles were very different. So like if you want something that she does,
Mhm.
then go for it. Like I would never.
Yeah.
Yeah. To this day, I still think she's like a really great cake decorator. But yeah, she was so mean.
She was just so
She like made me cry so many times.
Damn, that's so dumb.
Yeah.
There's room for everyone at the table.
Totally.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
even when we started this pod, there was like people like, don't start a pod. Like, it's fine. If you're gonna watch them, you may not watch us, but if you're gonna watch us, you're gonna watch us for what
Yeah,
we are.
exactly. Yeah.
It's never and
And who are you to like be the ruler of all the podcasts?
course. Of course. And the better that you do is probably the better that she does as well, because in case they can't come to you, they're going to her. Or in case they can't go to her, they're coming to you.
Yeah, I would still
So-
send people her way if I was fully booked because I knew she was good.
Right.
You know?
So-
it's bizarre.
It's musical.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
very
great. Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Winnipeg.
I'm sure
sport.
it happens in all the cities.
No, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
It's the idea of competition, though. But
Yeah.
both of you grew up competitive. You played competitive hockey. I'm sure it runs in the family. It's
competitive, too.
competitive,
Yeah,
right?
different
So
ways, yeah.
did that drive you a little bit more? Like, I will
For
show
sure.
you.
I
Like,
think it had the opposite effect than she had hoped.
yeah, she was like,
you
"Oh,
know?
we're gonna turn her down."
Yeah.
But like,
She was trying to
now
like
you dialed
ruin
it
me,
up.
but I was like, absolutely not.
Now I'll show you.
So yeah.
Ah, damn.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was week 1.
Yeah. That was week 1.
Okay, week 2 to 6. What does that look like?
I do not
You
really
don't remember
I
because you
don't
joined
remember.
week 6,
Yeah, I
if I
remember.
recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was when you were like, okay, I'm just gonna come in, do my work on the
Yeah,
side,
I was just
and then
helping
I'm
out
just gonna.
in the front, I think, at the beginning.
Yeah, you were like, I'll just do my computer work on the side and like help the customers
customers.
as they come in, and then I eventually pulled you into the kitchen.
Yeah, I don't know how it got
I need
ripped.
help. And then when did Trev start?
Like 6
months.
maybe 6 months or less, 4 months.
Trev.
He definitely helped. Trev's her husband.
Husband,
And
yes.
now our COO.
Okay.
We stole him while he was doing school, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's just so good with people, and yeah, we wouldn't let him leave, essentially.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So after week 6, what does this look like? Right, customers are coming in through the door.
We had
Are the orders there's more word of mouth?
Yeah.
Social media started or was a thing throughout
Yeah,
that
I
time?
think I took over because
I think
social
we
media
had
was a
3,000
mix.
followers when we opened,
Wow.
and then we jumped up to like 100,000 by
First year, too.
first year. Yeah, we used to get like 1,000 followers a day back then. It was so great.
That's so
Do you guys have your notifications on or off at that?
Oh, off.
Oh,
I've
okay.
never had my notifications on.
Nice.
Um,
Nice. We haven't reached that point yet. My notifications are still on.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
What does it feel like when you open the Instagram and you see so many people liking, commenting, and seeing that growth over time?
Yeah,
It
it's
definitely
great.
felt validating, I think, because we were brand new to it. We didn't expect to be entrepreneurs. We didn't know the baking world at all. So I think to get, especially dealing with like the situation that Jenna went through with that other cake designer, to get external validation when you have that imposter syndrome, just starting something new was really helpful and helped to kind of.
It made us know that we were on the right path for sure.
Yeah.
Like people are liking this. That's good.
This is when Martha Stewart called us one of her top Instagram.
We were number 1 on the list.
Yeah.
Let's
with
go.
like my idols, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was a cool moment.
Yeah.
How'd you
it
find
was
that
really
out?
cool.
Someone sent it to me, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was like Martha Stewart's top wedding Instagrams to follow.
Yeah, and it was just like a
That's
website
nuts.
article, but it was just so cool to see that because we both love Martha.
Yeah.
And so taking it out from not you're not Winnipeg cake designers, you're not Winnipeg bakers. This is worldwide now. Right?
Yeah,
This is
it
global.
was really cool.
Yeah.
Like the names on that list were like people that I still to this day idolize. So
Yeah, I think we first had a lineup. Oh, sorry, I keep touching my mic. We first had a lineup in October.
it was September.
September, when I was gone.
And we opened in end of March.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was we're like, what's going on out there?
So that
what-
was a really cool experience.
What were they waiting
to
for? Like the drop or the opening day?
No, it was just,
we've
I
been open
think
for
the
a
word
couple
had
months.
spread, and
Okay.
a lot of it was for our macarons, and we did fun flavors, and those flavors kept people coming back because there was always something new on the menu. So yeah, every weekend we'd have a line for years and years.
years and years.
Yeah.
Yeah, every Saturday was like crazy for the first couple hours. It was fun.
We talked a little bit about the negative experience. Do you remember a positive experience of someone that maybe bought something from your store, came in,
yeah.
and
There's
that
been
really
so
touched
many.
you, especially?
There's a couple who got
in-
engaged.
Yeah, there's a couple that got engaged at our store.
Yeah,
They
they
got
loved
like
Jenna and
macarons that's I wrote like will you marry me on
And that
them,
was
I
within the
think.
first
Did they
year.
say yes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was
It's
really
beautiful.
cute. I have like a very grainy video of it. It was very sweet. Yeah, just like all, because it's fun making cakes, especially because you're parts of people's like big events. So weddings, birthdays, anniversaries.
So about celebrating.
Yeah, so lots of people I do like their birthday cake, and then I do their engagement cake, and then I do their wedding cake, and then I do their kids' first and second and third and fourth birthdays. So
beautiful.
it's fun, like those repetitive customers that
Yeah.
you kind of get to know over the years.
And the kids, especially now that we have kids, it's so sweet.
Yeah.
Like, we had this one DM sent to us, and it was a mom whose child got really sick and was in the hospital,
Yeah.
and she was just able to speak again. And the mom had recorded her saying, like, "What do you want as soon as you're out of the hospital, like to make you feel better?" And she was like, "Jenna Rae Cakes."
Oh
my
no.
God. So we brought her some treats in the hospital, and it was just so sweet, and
Yeah.
that was so touching. And we have a birthday cake club now, where we work with Ronald McDonald House, Toba Center, and the Children's Hospital. So any child getting care in one of those facilities on their birthday gets a cake from us.
Oh my God.
And that's our charity initiative now, and it's so rewarding. 'Cause
Yeah, it's so great.
kiddos, and some kids have never had a birthday cake before or been sung happy birthday to, so it's just a really special thing, and I'm
Yeah.
really glad we started it.
Yeah,
Why
same.
is that important to you guys?
Well, we've always we love our city, and we always love to give back. And it's hard because you get bombarded with all these requests, and every story is like, of course, you want to donate whatever you can to these amazing charities and everything.
Yeah.
So we did a charity of the month for a while, and it was great, but you couldn't really see where exactly it was going or how you were helping in a way. So this way, I think we started like almost a year ago now, and we just both love just. Kids and like our bakery, it just goes hand in hand, and like we both have kids, and we just know how important and special that is. So
Yeah, it's hard to find someone who loves a birthday cake more than like a 7-year-old. Like,
Yeah.
That is true.
yeah,
I remember my 7th birthday cake, so like I can attest.
yeah, it's just such an easy way to make an impact on someone's life.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just was kind of a no-brainer. It just fit together, and then that way we can focus all of our efforts there and really make a difference, as opposed to like spreading it out and not really doing too much.
well, with the
We did a lot,
yeah,
but-
we did a lot. We
yeah.
we just kind of ran out of charities to support. So instead
Yeah.
of looping back around, we decided to change it up.
Nice. That's awesome. You're spreading love in our city. And
Yeah.
that's what our city sort of needs. You know, you see a lot of people
Yeah.
who do well in our city and then decide to move out or
Yeah.
decide to go other places where the culture that we build in our city, that's the people here. And you guys are doing a fantastic job of that. Let's talk about expanding this business side. You have one location, the idea of going to 2, and then cookbooks, and then all the other ventures that you guys have started from there. What does that journey look like?
So yeah, it started with a one shop, and then we were baking everything out of this tiny little kitchen in the back. It's very, very tiny. So our dad eventually started grocery shopping for us, which was great. So he'd come in with the groceries, put them in, and there'd be literally no room to do anything. Our little sister was working for us at the time, and she was like working on the top of a freezer.
Full family business.
No,
There was a shelf like right in her face.
Family
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was not conducive for
Yeah.
much, but we made it work for the first year.
Yeah, and people always ask us how we knew we were ready to take that leap to build the next spot, and it was just out of necessity. It's always kind of been out of necessity.
Yeah, we've always been like pushed.
Yeah, so we had the shop at Academy. We ran out of space there. We were pissing a lot of people off, like I had said. And we knew we needed a larger kitchen to be able to output more. So we started looking for a commercial space, and we were in there by July of the following year, of year 2.
Okay.
We were in the new space. And then we all of a sudden had a lot more space and a lot more capacity, so we knew we needed to open a second shop.
Yeah.
And that's when we decided to go to the Forks, which is a great move for us.
Great location, yeah.
And from there, this was in 2020, so not ideal timing.
Yeah.
We were completely out of space
We
at
started
our.
looking before the pandemic.
We did.
Yeah.
We did. We were completely out of space at our commercial kitchen that we had built in 2015.
So by space, you just mean orders just coming through and just not enough places to store them?
Just storage for packaging and
Okay.
kitchen room, and
Gotcha.
we wanted to do more and we couldn't because we were so limited by what we could store.
Uh-huh.
So we knew we had to find a larger commercial kitchen space. And then COVID happened, and we were like, let's make this work. This will be fine. And we just realized that we couldn't play it safe.
Because we had to sign our lease, so like we would have to sign it for another 5 years, and we just knew
we would just be shooting ourselves in the foot.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's just do this. It feels like the world is kind of ending, but we have to kind of make this move, and hopefully it sets us up for like 5 years from now.
Yeah.
So we started looking for a commercial space, and we found a larger one, but to be able to afford that one, we knew we would need a third location. So we had to do the commercial build in tandem with our third shop at Island Lakes, and that was a very
During
stressful,
a global pandemic.
During
it
a
was
global pandemic.
not stressful at all.
Not at all. So that part was pretty stressful.
What about it specifically?
Just all the money that you're spending.
Yeah.
And just hoping that it all comes back to you in a time where you no longer recognize the world and the way that people shop, because it was all changing so rapidly from before the pandemic. We could rely on like our weekend lineups, and things were busy, and people were ordering cakes all the time. And then the pandemic started, and all that came to a halt for a short while, and then people started purchasing again.
Yeah.
But it just changes the way people shop. They want convenience. They don't want to have to leave their home if they don't want to. So we had to figure out skip the dishes. We had to figure out local delivery, and just being more accessible to people. So it was just hard to kind of jump into 3 stores without really knowing where things were headed. Yeah.
From what I'm gaining just from talking to you for a short period of time here is that you guys seem to adapt really quickly. Like you reach a capacity where you're like, okay, this is almost to the breaking point.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, let's take it up a notch.
Yeah.
A little more. Was there any point during any of the times where you reached that breaking point and you were truly in awe of like, we may not make it out of this, or this might be the end of us? Was there a moment?
I don't know if we've ever felt like this might be the end of us, but I have gotten to low points where I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. Just when things get really hard with either staffing or with, I don't know, just a lot of like hurdles to get through. Like I've never truly felt like giving up, but sometimes it's like, this is a lot harder in the low points than people realize.
Yes.
Because you have the weight of like 40 salaries on your shoulders, and the constant, especially these last couple of years, it's like the cost of ingredients has skyrocketed, and the cost of rents has gone up, and the cost of packaging has skyrocketed too. And there's only so much you can charge for a cookie.
And people's
spending power has gone down. So it's like this terrible
mix.
formulation for business. So it's just, it's a lot harder to be profitable. And it's a constant grind, and we like doing things organically, and we don't want to pay for ads, and we don't want to really force our goods
We're
down
not very
people's
good
throats.
businesswomen in that
No.
way. Like when we go to
wouldn't say
shows and do things like that, we're not good at like
We're not
hey,
salesy.
you gotta try our product. Like, yeah, we're not salesy at all.
But your product speaks for itself.
Yeah, we like to
So-
rely on that. So when we're forced to kind of think about, okay, but you have to buy ads if you want to compete in this space. I'm like, but I don't want to do that. I want it to be organic.
Yeah.
So it's just a harder grind because we have 10 years of backing just in the community and customers and client relationships. I think we're in a good spot, but it's just, yeah, I feel for people starting out right now because it's a hard environment.
Yeah. Definitely.
Did you have a moment where you thought, or a low moment, a rock bottom almost, or because most of the time it goes like this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Most of the time
There's always waves.
there's waves. So what was one of the moments where the wave got a little too deep?
I don't know. For me, the crying looking at my bed was like a pretty low point, but it forced me to. I don't know. I think I think if I was doing this alone, I would be at a low point like every day, pretty much. But Ash is like she's so steady and like you can just rely on her. She just has all this weight on her shoulders and just so professional and just gets shit done. So I have her to lean on. So I've never really experienced that like really low point because I know that she's there with me. So I think that definitely helps. Like being an entrepreneur by yourself would be extremely lonely and scary, and it still is scary for sure. But it definitely helps having each other.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And Trev.
And Trev, yeah.
That's one thing I admire as well about your whole family business that you
Yeah.
is that you guys are together. You guys are in it together.
Yeah.
Yes, you're gonna argue. Yes, you're gonna butt heads. But at the end of the day, your sisters, you're building something together. And I'm sure there's been a couple fights between you guys. Not anymore.
No, we got fighting out in like junior high over clothes.
Yeah.
It's over clothes.
Yes.
No, we don't really fight anymore.
Okay.
Like we'll be snippy with each other if we're in a bad mood, but I mean that's the extent of it.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we
Got you.
apologize. It's mostly me.
Aw.
When you're hot.
And is that because there's a goal that you guys are chasing? Like, why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think
Because they
it's
say
for
don't
us.
mix. They say don't mix
Oh,
family
we
and
got told
business.
that a million
So
times when we
much.
were starting. Yeah. Especially when we were signing everything, everyone's like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah. So why do
Yeah,
you think it? Why do you think it's?
I think because we're twins and we just are so close and we have like the same views about a lot of things or the same like morals about a lot of things and just we have the same goals, I guess, but without having to like talk about them really. Like we just know.
I think our main goal is to show up to work every day in a place that we're proud
Proud of,
to run, and we are providing a good work environment for the people who work for us, and we're providing quality products for the people who buy from us, and we're part of people's celebrations. Like I don't think it goes like we want to be this big by this year, and like we want to grow, and like that would be nice if we were like that, because then we can maybe have a bit more direction. But the way that we've grown organically has been pretty fun too. So I don't know. I think a lot of it is just the lifestyle part of it. We want to work for ourselves and be creatively fulfilled every day. Like that, my number one is being creatively fulfilled. And I think Jenna's is too. It's not driven by financials or notoriety or anything.
Yeah, I think
like
if you
that.
wanted the financial stuff, you wouldn't own a bakery.
There's much better ways to.
Not great margins.
Oh. Okay. And now, what about the other ventures that you've dwelled into? The cookbooks. You guys were on TV.
That's fun.
Like you said that at the same time.
We do that a lot.
Yeah.
Talk to me about them. When the email comes through the door or the phone call rings, what is that feeling like?
When the email came through for the cookbook, I was so excited because that was always been a dream of mine.
I remember I got it. I'm like, Ash.
Yeah, it's always been a dream of mine to design a cookbook. So that was an amazing email to get. And we have done 2 now. And our second one is available in October. And our third one, I have to start right now. But so that's been a huge accomplishment. Being on TV was so fun. We were on Wall of Bakers.
So fun.
2021?
Yeah, Sadie was 3 weeks old.
Yeah, 2021.
Crazy.
And that was such a cool experience too to see everybody. And they called us chef, which was really uncomfortable because we're like, we're not chefs.
Talk about imposter
syndrome. But that was such a cool experience. We met some really great people and business owners. And Yeah, I mean, teaching in Australia was a high point for us, and that happened this year. We got to fly out with Color Mill and
Wow.
teach some classes and learn all about their business, and that was just so much fun. I
Hmm.
don't know, we're just kind of letting this business take us in all these different directions, and it's been
Hmm.
a cool experience. We get to travel
Yeah.
a lot.
I think we're both pretty flexible and like able to just kind of go with where it takes us. We're not so rigid and maybe it's good that we don't have these finite goals because we're able to just like take opportunities as they come.
Hmm.
And anytime we do try to plan something or
Yeah, it doesn't
it
work
just
out.
never really works out. So
Is there an example of something that you tried that you
Like,
planned out and
Yeah.
it didn't work?
Or we were like, we're gonna try paying for ads for 3 months and see how it goes.
Gotcha.
to get our dazzle
And-
dust like
yeah.
online and all over.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it completely tanked. Like we spent so much money in a month, and it
I
didn't.
think we gave it like 3 weeks.
Yeah, we didn't give it very long. You have to give it
We're
longer.
like, this is
But we're just
stupid.
like,
Why
this
are
is
we?
so dumb.
Yeah.
That's not why we got into this, to like play games and try and sell stuff. Like I just
It's like-
that doesn't interest me.
You're
at
like
all.
gambling. Like and you can't tell someone if they even like sold a product. And it was weird. It just felt weird.
Mm.
So we stopped.
I don't like marketing. I like design and
Nice.
creating.
Nice.
So
Yeah, maybe we should hire a
That's-
marketing
yeah, I mean, we
person.
We know a couple guys.
Yeah.
All right. In terms of advice for individuals, I have a bunch of friends who love baking and they're good at it. They start an Instagram page, they do the couple photos. Going from there, scaling that, and a lot of them maybe in the same position, right? They're in school. They're trying to follow a passion.
Yeah.
What do you tell them?
I would
What do you tell
say,
people?
like, start with Instagram, because now there's that huge resource at your fingertips,
It's free.
and like a Shopify page or website is relatively cheap too.
Yeah.
So you can really test the waters and make it a hobby and see if you can get traction and get a good customer base and see if you like it, see if you like that grind and dealing with customer service and
Yeah.
managing expectations and all of that, because that is a very real part of the job that you don't understand until you're in it.
Or yeah, I would say get a job at a bakery
Okay.
just to see how it works behind the scenes, because if you're not in that life, like you have no clue how it actually is working in a bakery. So I think that's definitely something you can do. You're getting paid and it's kind of like school for you.
Would you have
Just
done
to
that?
tell out. No,
Yeah,
'cause
if you
I knew I
could
wanted
tell
to.
yourself, if you tell your age.
No, I knew I wanted to do it. So, but I'm just saying, like, if you want to risk everything and start your own business, it's good to do a little bit more research than I did.
Good
Which was
advice.
nothing.
But they're gonna look at you and be like, "You turned out all right."
Yeah, but I got very lucky, I think. And I also think you don't have to turn your passions into a job all the time and keep it your passion because sometimes I think doing that might ruin that for you. Luckily, it didn't for me.
Yeah,
But it could have.
that's true. That is true.
So I think if you love something, like making cakes is what I fell in love with, and that's what I did maybe like 1% of or no, probably 10% of the time for the first couple of years, because I was doing that, but then I was also doing a million other things. So to get to the point where I'm just focused on custom cakes, which is what I've always wanted to do, took years. So I think knowing that and having a good work ethic and getting people to try your stuff and being honest with you about it and being honest with yourself about it, if you're going to fill a gap or if someone does it better than you, doesn't mean there's not a space for you. You can always work on everything, but I think you have to really look at yourself through kind of a difficult lens. Be like, am I cut out for this? Am I willing to work 16-hour days for 2 years straight? Am I willing to make no money for the first bit? Like, am I willing to give up? Well, I didn't really give up a social life. I just didn't sleep. But
Something's gotta go.
yeah, you gotta go. Yeah, something's gotta give. Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, and it's so much fun, and I love my job. I would never change a thing, but it's not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. Yeah.
That's very wise. That's very wise.
But yeah, I think the good thing with that too is it's harder in Manitoba because you have to work out of a commercial kitchen. But I would start small. I wouldn't just jump in and buy a bakery. I would do what I did for a year or so. Make sure you like it. Make sure you're getting orders. Make sure you can grow that. And just kind of prove your own business model in that way. And making sure people are willing to pay for your product first and then go from there.
I think one thing that you just mentioned is that your passion doesn't have to be your job, right? If you really enjoy something, it's okay to just leave it as your passion and just do it
It's
as a
great if you
side.
can turn it into your job.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think this whole just do it. Just start it. I don't know if that's the best advice because I hear it all the time, but I also think you should probably do a little bit more due diligence before you tell someone to just like give up their everything and pour a bunch of money into something that maybe they just aren't cut out for.
Fair.
So I don't think that that's the best advice you can give someone, and I do hear that all the time, and it makes me kind of cringe.
agree.
I'm like, don't say that to people.
We've had basketball players on the show, and they're like, I just love playing basketball. I don't enjoy the business side.
Yeah.
I came into this league because I wanted to play basketball, not because I wanted to get endorsements or like figure out trading and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I commend the fact that, you know, being able to say, listen, if you don't want to do this is if you enjoy this aspect of it, stay on this aspect.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to make you happy,
Yeah.
right? You're just going to get bogged down by all the things, and then you're going to start hating.
Yeah, because
what
once
you
it turns
actually
into a
do.
job, it can change how you feel about it for sure.
Did that change for you guys?
No, I still love it.
No.
But yeah, so it was definitely the right call.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah.
But it could have gone. It could have gone. Could have crashed.
If you
and
didn't have
burned, for
me
sure.
and you had to answer emails,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. No, if I didn't have Ash, I would still just be a one-person show, getting no sleep, and definitely everything kind of worked out. Yeah, we had like a good. I don't know what the word is, but we just had like a good formula without even realizing it.
Right place, right time.
Yeah.
There you go.
lots of
We did get lucky in that way. We worked our asses off, but we did definitely get lucky too.
Just with the timing of everything.
Yeah.
Ashley, if there's something you could tell your younger self that wanted to do design for major companies, and now you're doing one already for a major company, what would you tell your 10-year-old self, your 8-year-old self?
I've thought about this question a lot because it gets asked on one of my favorite podcasts at the end of every one. And it would be, it's okay to be shy. Because growing up, we were both very shy. And I thought I would always be kind of confined to working for someone else and not really having a seat at the table. Because the idea of like speaking up at a boardroom table in front of a client just made me like, I just never thought I'd be able to do it.
Lip quiver.
Yeah. Instant lip quiver. Voice rattling. And now where we're at now, we do public speaking engagements. We do like teaching, TV things. Like we've just come so far and out of our shell. And I think when you're young, you just think the way you are then is how you're going to be forever. And that's not true. And I think you will find your confidence and kind of you'll build your own self up. So yeah, it's okay to be shy. That'd be my tip to myself.
Yeah, I always tell my girls out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last question I was going to
My kids
ask
are not shy, so they don't need that advice. But
you guys are both moms now, or moms. What is that like, seeing your children grow up? Do they know that mom bakes cakes? Mom does this?
Yeah, they do.
And what do you hope to instill in them? What do you hope that they get out of the world?
I always tell them that they can do whatever they want. They just are going to have to work really hard for it. So like anything is within reach, but you have to work for it and you have to love it. And I don't know, I think we're showing them that. It's not about kind of telling them what to do to get the job they love. It's kind of showing day to day what it takes. And we both love our jobs, and I'm constantly telling them that. I feel so lucky that I get to do what I do every day, and I love work. But it's not easy. So I think just kind of being that role model for them is important.
Yeah, I think we saw our parents work so hard growing up too that instilled in us really good work ethic. So I want our kids to have the same. They definitely know that mommy makes cakes, and people at her school know of the bakery and things like that. So it's really cute. But a funny thing she'd always say when she was younger, we're like, "What's Daddy's name?" And she's like, "Mike." "What's Mommy's name?" "Jenna Rae Cakes."
Jenna Rae Cakes.
Yeah, and they always like tell me what they want for the birthday cake, and it's always quite challenging, but so it's fun, and I'm excited. I bring them to work sometimes. They can kind of see what goes on behind the scenes, and they're a little bit older now, so they can sit at the table and watch the iPad for a little bit while I can get some work done.
Can't wait till they can start doing dishes.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna be working in there as soon as they can. Yeah,
There you go.
they're gonna be doing the tough job.
Family business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Floors.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but I definitely want them to know that you have to work for what you want in life. Nothing's going to be handed to you, and life isn't fair. That's a big one. Life isn't fair, because I can't stand that. Yeah.
Is life fair?
No,
No?
life is not fair.
Is life worth it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Never
100%
mind.
it is, but you can't go around thinking that people
not
are going to
sunshine and
cater to
rainbows,
you. And
100%.
yeah, like you have
Yeah.
to be up for a little bit of adversity and not crumble when it happens, because it's going to happen. So just preparing them for that, and
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys taking the time to come on the show and share your stories. Yeah, I want to commend you guys as well, especially in the city. Thank you for doing what you guys do. Continue just rising, continue going to the top. And I'm happy that the audience and I got to hear.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It was fun.
As always, like, comment, subscribe. See you next week. Peace.